Good day, strategy gamers, and welcome back to episode 34 of our Let's Play series, Stalingrad to Berlin campaign in War in the East 2. In this episode, we're going to be going over the ground movement phase of turn 18 from our Leningrad pocket down to about Orel, and we're also going to be taking a look at some of the reinforcements that we brought in to help with our push towards Idritsa and Riga. I want to begin by saying we once again have skipped over the air execution phase. Blizzards continue to dominate the front lines. But I have good news. The forecast for turn 19 is weather conditions of cold. So if we go and take a look at this, we actually see March 25th, 1943, most of our front line, really almost all of it, weather air condition is just cold. So it means there might be overcast, might be clouds, stuff like that, but it's not snow, it's not blizzard. So I think what we're going to probably do is start doing some more air execution, air phase work in the next turn. I don't know if we're going to turn and let loose all the dogs of war in terms of our airframes because it's still not great clear weather, right? But I think we're probably going to start next turn looking at turning on some of the activity in our air war. So, very exciting news with that, and I really look forward to getting into that with you guys in what will be episode 36. So something to look forward to there. Now, back to our ground combat phase. Starting up here near Leningrad, we had a couple of turns ago taken these two hexes, but the Germans managed to move in and kick us out. We had forced them out of this hex in the previous turn. They moved right back with a brigade from the 35th Infantry Division. We're going to go ahead and take the 136 Rifle Division, and we're going to go ahead and attack with 3-to-1 odds. And they managed to hold. So now we're going to take the 1st Rifle Corps, and we're going to attack with that. And they routed. So another successful attack. So now we've taken that hex from the Germans. I don't think we're going to move into it quite yet, though, because I think the area of opportunity for our ability to break out is with these two hexes here. So this is where I really want us to focus our attention. So I'm going to take the 2nd Rifle Corps here, and I'm going to have them, I think we're just going to do a hasty attack against that unit, and they retreated. So that's some good news there. We don't quite have enough to move up, though. So now what I want to do is take these two units and push here. We have better than 3-to-1 odds, and they retreated as well. So now we've really started to push and break through here. I now want to take the 128th Rifle Division. And I think we're going to... Let's take a look here. Wait, can that Rifle Corps move up? No, it cannot. We don't have enough to break through here yet. They have 45 here. So I think we're just going to have to be satisfied with moving up this Rifle Division. And then next turn we will look at moving into this hex. So we have to stay a little patient still, but I think we have some good stuff coming our way here. This Rifle Division, we really need to get in a refit status, because you look at its number of men, you can just tell something's wrong with the TOE. Yeah, it absolutely devastated. I believe that was actually one of the divisions that was forced back over here. We also have the 256, which is on refit. We can take it off of that because it's actually looking pretty good. And we have the 10th Rifle Division as well. So yeah, a little disappointed we don't have enough to move up here. I guess it's not terrible news. I think we might take the 115th Rifle Division. We're going to take them off the line, and we're instead going to move up the 10th Rifle Division into that place. Just a little stronger of a unit. Looking over here, we have about 1-to-1 on this hex if we were trying to push it, so we're going to hold as well. They've actually started to abandon their line here, so they've completely left this hex. They only have 1-to-1 here, And the reason? Because we have broken out near Lake Ilmen. So this is where the action's starting to happen. This is causing a lot of trouble for the German forces. So this is nothing but good news, and we're seeing the consequences of it up here in the north. So first thing we're going to do is take, I think, the 71st Rifle Division, and we're going to use them to try to push through this hex. And we successfully routed them, so that's good. I then want to take this stack, I think, and move them up into this hex. So defensive value there is plenty to hold out. And then I think we're going to take this entire stack and move them up. So now in the coming turns, we can look to try to break out here, which is going to be wonderful news. Over here, we have not quite 2 to 1. So I don't know that we're going to try to push there. What we might do instead is see. So right here would be 18. Yeah, I don't know we want to do that either. And they just brought up the LAH SS Panzergrenadier Division, one of their stronger units. I think we might just focus on trying to hold this particular hex. So I think we will take the 377th Rifle Division and move them down. I'm curious, we don't have enough movement points to move into that hex, so that's fine. But now we have a defensive value much closer to about 13-14, which means they won't even have 2 to 1 odds. So I think that'll be enough to hold there. They have almost no offensive capability with this unit. If we can take this crossroads, it's really going to open it up then for us to keep pushing a little deeper. But the priority actually has never been north of Lake Ilmen to make a push here. The priority really always has been to first cut off Pskov and then cut off Riga, right? And Pskov's just because we knew we'd be able to break through here and probably reach it a little more easily. But the major push, the one that is going to take the most effort and that really we have to focus ourselves on, is pushing to Riga. And we set out that objective of going to Adritsa first, then Rezekny, then Krustpils, Ogre, and Riga. So we're following this rail line that's going east to west exactly as it's laid out there. Back to blowing stuff up, though. I think what we might do is actually move the northwest front down to here. Well, no, actually, I'm going to wait until we take some more here, and I think I'm just going to move it over. So we're going to leave that as is, actually. Yeah, okay. Rail Brigade continues to repair the rails here. So that's great news, really, because that's really helping us keep these guys in supply. When we look at depots, we have 2 depots here, and they're supplying the bulk of these forces. So that's great to see. Back over here, I don't think we're going to have enough to break through on this unit, and we would exhaust ourselves trying to connect the 2 forces. It'd be nice to have them connected, but I don't think we're going to get too much from it. Yeah, we don't have enough to get up there. So I think instead what we'll do is we'll focus on trying to press here, 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 all along this line, these 4 hexes. I think we're going to just try to keep pushing them back. So what we will do to that end is, I think we'll take the 6, no, not the 6 guard. We'll take the 26 Rifle Division and move them up. And then we're going to take this entire stack and attack with 3 to 1 odds. And they rout it, the 1st Sturm Brigade. Now we're going to attack here. Better than 3 to 1 odds, so they retreat it. The portion of the 20th Motorized Division. Here, we have better than 3 to 1, so we'll attack. Force them back as well. And lastly, right here, we have very good odds, 4 to 1, and they retreat it. So all along the front, we have pushed them back. Which then means we're going to just move up the units we can that don't get exhausted. And really, they don't have enough here to do any type of counterattack, so I'm not really worried about that. think we will see, though, if we can bring up... if any of these elements have enough to get all the way up here. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to break through that hex this turn. Move up the artillery. So I think we're just going to have to settle with bringing you up here. Is that actually worth maybe pushing? It's about 2 to 1, the 220th, and they've already been pushed back once. Let's do it. We managed to push them back, and we got the depot that was there. So I think we made the right call. Doesn't look like we have enough to push into that hex, though. We can bring the 130th Rifle Brigade up. I wonder if there's anyone else that can make it up there to help them. Do have this artillery unit. Or if we bring them here... yeah, I don't think that's just 1 to 1. We take those two. No, not going to happen. Okay. Sometimes you can only push so far. So let's bring up this rifle division. We maybe pull one of you back and swap out the rifle division. Looks like we can. And back here we have 2 combat value 4, so we're actually going to bring you all the way up here. Yeah. Not quite enough there, huh? What if we take you back 1? Oh, we don't have enough to do that. So we're just going to move you up a little bit so you're ready for the next round of fighting. Move the artillery up 1 more. Alright, so we are breaking out. This is exactly what we wanted to see here. This is exactly what we needed. And this is going to put so much pressure on any units they have up here to make the decision. Do they start pulling back and try to get through this little bridge of land here, north of Lake Peipus, or do they try to rush south and make it to Peskov? Tough decision for them. Glad I don't have to make it. Looking over here, we're just going to move up some units into this hex to get ready for the attack here. Take the 202nd Rifle as well. So using the forces as it currently stands, we're 41 to 34. I don't think I want to throw away our folks at that quite yet. Oh, some of these rifle divisions, I remember this from a couple of episodes ago, their TOE is horrid. So we need to be careful here about not pushing these guys too hard. The 245th, though, looks like they would be able to handle an advance. So we will have them move up. And 241st is not looking good either. The 161st Rifle Brigade is going to come up here and support. And then we have the 253rd Rifle, which really should probably start moving north to stay with the army that they're part of. We're going to have plenty of opportunity to use these guys. I think we'll bring them right up here. Okay. Yeah, now some of these I actually want to start looking at getting these into refit status and on a depot, the nearest depot being up there. But that's going to be a little bit of ways from the HQ. Might still be worth getting them up there, setting them to refit. We're going to do that. You're actually okay. You are not. Right, so we're going to change all of these to refit. That rifle division is better off, but still not great. Pretty much the entirety of the 31st Army we are changing to refit status. They are just not in a good spot right now. I'm going to move this HQ unit up here, I think, for the 34th Army. We have a similar situation here with elements of the 53rd Army, specifically the 241st. So I think what we might do is just leave that hex as is. I'm going to move you back into refit status on that HQ. So now that we've managed to break through, I think we can take this opportunity now to have some of the units refresh themselves. This is part of the 11th Army, but we're getting pretty congested in here. I think we will have you move up here. Get yourself ready to push through. Okay. 182nd Rifle Division. I think probably the same story moving you up here. And here we have an HQ stack. Really, we're going to be better off having the HQs for these guys on that depot. We'll have, I think, the 11th Army there. That rail construction brigade. Have to keep repairing rail units, or rail X's here. Okay. I don't know if we want to attack. It's only 2-1, and these guys are still recovering a little. We moved all of them up, so we're going to just hold for now. Down here, we have more opportunities. So we've been advancing in this pocket for a couple of turns now, kind of ignoring this rough terrain where they've put a lot of their focus. And right here, you can see they're kind of inviting us to move into this hex, Novozhev, where we'd be able to be kind of surrounded and they'd have a 20 combat attack value. I don't think we're going to necessarily take that bait. I think what we might do though is look at maybe pushing back this 1st Mountain Division Brigade. But I remember these units, yeah, they're very high fatigue. Supply's been a bit of a concern because we've moved so many units up on the rail lines here that supply these guys. Supply has been an issue. Fatigue is high. I think this turn we might take as a bit of a rest and recuperate turn. And we'll just get ready then for future attacks. I think that's what we're going to do with this pocket right here. It's good to put pressure on the south of Pskov, but I don't think we have enough of an advantage to push through in any of these hexes. If anything, actually, I think we're going to pull these guys back because they'd be pretty well contested here. They only have, call it 5-6 defensive value versus 6-7. If they bring up another element like this infantry division, it's going to start to give them a lot of issues. So I think we're just going to pull both of these back. Oh, can you not get back? Have I now abandoned you? Let's see if we can't move one of you. Get this rifle brigade. Alright, so it's going to exhaust them, but it's going to get them into a more secure position. So we move them back here. Very good. We have an option to move into this hex, I suppose, with the 129th Rifle Division. I think we might take it, because they would be just as challenged as we would be being the attacker into this rough terrain. So I think it gives us a good advantage. Yeah, defensive value of 26 by being there. And then it also means we can help then support an attack into this hex if needed. Down here, they've started to pull back some of the units. So you can see they're really desperately trying to build a defensive line here because we've been pushing hard in this area. I think probably going to leave you where you're at. Oh, yeah, you guys need to get taken off the front line. So where's the nearest depot? Where's the nearest? We're taking up so much supply trying to get these tank armies back into a good fighting status. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull both of you off. I'm going to take the 28th Rifle Division and move you up. 21st Guards comes back. 28th Guards Rifle Division can move up. And then we're going to toss both of these into a refit status. We're going to move one more back off the line, actually. Refit, refit. Okay, good. Over here, have a rifle corps and a rifle division. Think we're going to move them up. So here's what I'm going to do with these two. I'm going to move them both to this hex. And we're going to attack this. 10-to-1 odds. Capture the depot. Good. Good. Now let's see where we go next. So we can get there, but I don't know that rifle division is going to be able to defend itself against an infantry division and what I'm assuming is a panzer division. So that has me a little worried, right? But we can get real close to Adritsa here if we can make it up there. And we could move in that rifle corps. So the rifle corps gives us a defensive value of about 10. Yeah, so I'm going to commit then this rifle division as well, which gets us up to about 13. We'll bring up the artillery to help a little. And maybe we can start looking at the 7th and 17th Tank Corps. Don't know that I want to move them up there yet. So I think for now we're still going to keep these guys in the rear. Over here we have 2 rifle divisions from the 4th Guards Army. This is another element that we moved over. This actually came all the way from Stalingrad. And I want to make sure that the HQ unit is actually to the right. Yeah, so this is the central front over here. So we need to reassign the 4th Guards Army to the correct HQ. And that would be the Kalinin front. There we go. So that should measurably help. Let's make sure to 1st Tank Army. Yeah, so you were still pointed at Stavka, so we need to change that to where you are also on the Kalinin front. Alright, so that should help a lot. Looking over here, I mean, we could pull up the 7th Tank Corps to help defend here, but it is clear terrain, and that Panzer Division would have to cross a river as well, and we're in a city. Okay, so we're going to bring up the 7th Tank Corps. And of course, I'm so tempted to continue moving here, but we're not. We're not going to. We're going to leave it just as that is. And what we will do is we will also move up the 17th Tank Corps. And we're going to leave them to help prevent attrition in this hex. These 2 units that are being refit, one of these units I'm going to move into that hex, I think. We'll take the 21st Guard Rifle Division, I think. Alright, back down here. Good fights we could have. So I think we're going to take this stack of rifle divisions and rifle corps, and we're going to attack against the 321st Rifle Division. And they retreat it. We've pushed them back there. We were to attack here. We have 2-to-1. So let's see. So I'm trying to think of which way I want to go with this. I think we're going to take this stack here, and we'll take this stack to move this way. So we're going to move these guys down here. We're going to attack this unit. And they managed to hold. Of course they managed to hold. Let's take out one of these rifle divisions. And we're going to bring up the 117th Rifle Division. And here we will take back the 2nd Mechanized. And we will bring up the 173rd Infantry Division. And let's attack again. And this time they retreat it. Good news. Defensive value here is about 15 versus their 9 attacks, so we're just fine. No worries there. like I mentioned, we're probably going to take elements of this stack and move them up. So that 948th Rifle Division, that's only 2.6 defensive value. Yeah, so now we're sitting about 5 or 6 versus their 4 and 1. The concern, of course, is any type of armored or mechanized element they have that could come up to counterattack. So I think we still have to look to see, can the 120th Rifle Division can make it up there, and that should really help the situation. Gets us pretty close to about 8 defensive value. Not terribly happy, but not upset about that either, so I think we're going to be okay there. This Rifle Division, we could probably move this entire stack, but their fatigue is now over 50 for that entire stack, so we're going to let them stay there. And we're going to look at moving up more elements of the 4th Guards Army towards the front line. So we're going to bring them all up here. And we have this stack of the 4th Guards Army too, going to bring up. This is a little more slow going, but it'll be okay. Take them here. All right. A couple more turns, they'll be up here. Won't be an issue. And here we have our HQs. Supplies are looking much better in this area, right? It was a concern previously, which I think means the majority of our supply concerns do exist south towards Rostov. And I don't think we're going to make any more advances towards Adritsa here, but we are now just 2 hexes away with a very strong armored element about to move up. So I think we're doing pretty well. We're actually going to take the 17th Corps. We're going to start moving the 1st Tank Army into position here. Right, so then if we do break through in the upcoming turns, we can then more easily push directly towards Adritsa with this stack. And then the 2nd Tank Corps, part of the 5th Army, these are the guys that I really rushed into things, and they've seen a fair amount of action, so they need to recover a little. Okay. Before I get too distracted, I'm going to go over here, and you'll remember we deployed a lot of units that we had built in previous turns, like these mechanized corps, rifle corps, and tank corps, that we are going to make part of the 2nd Tank Army. And we're going to take all of these and apply them to the 2nd Tank Army. So we're going to do this. This is going to be above the command limit for the 2nd Tank Army. We are aware of that. So it started at 11. We're already at 12. We have all of these still to add. But we will take a look at that one problem at a time, right? First problem is these guys can't stay attached to Stavka. Okay. Tank Army. I think we just have one more to go. Yep, okay, so they are now all part of 2nd Tank Army. Let's take a look here. So, Major General Alexei Rodin is the commander of the 2nd Tank Army. And he has mechanized value of 6, infantry of 4, political 7, morale 6, initiative 5, admin 4. So I'm not a big fan of the admin rating, or even initiative I feel can probably be higher. So let's actually maybe dismiss him and look to see who we could bring in instead. So these are units, these guys are already deployed to various units. Here we have mechanized of 4, so that's not strong enough. Mechanized of 5. Do want to keep mechanized higher. Let's see who we can find. 651, kind of like that, but their initiative and such isn't any better than what we just got rid of. Maybe he was a better commander than I initially had gleaned. Yeah, we're not seeing too much down here. That's scraping the bottom of the barrel. If we had more infantry elements, Ivan Petrov might make sense. I think what we might do, Georgy Zakharov. Major General, looks like. Yeah, Major General. Let's put him there. Okay. So there's that. And I think what we'll do is just as we get towards the front, we'll have to look a little bit at how we split up some of those elements. And again, we'll take a look into leaders and all those different stats we just saw there in a later episode. What I'm a little concerned about is that right off the bat, we've deployed these units and look at their supply levels, for example, on the 21st Tank Corps. So that's a little depressing. But we'll start moving these units up, getting them a little closer towards the Adritsa front. Take them here. Yeah, move you up to there. This entire stack will first move here and then we'll split it up. Oh, you're all mechanized. Okay, I had missed that. So elements of you can come up. Go there. You can also go there. The HQ unit we will move up. Let's actually see if one of you can go a little further. No, you all have 4. Okay, oh, that's alright. So we've started to move them down towards the front to help push through Adritsa. And again, by the time they arrive, get themselves a little rested, we should already have gotten Adritsa and be pushing our way towards Rezekny. So, a lot to look forward to there. And we'll continue on. So, one of the biggest surprises that happened in the last turn and where more than half of the German victories came from was, not more than half, I guess half probably is a better description, is over here. I had missed recapping this battle where they'd pushed us back, so let's look at that real quick. Yeah, so they just counterattacked with a bunch of infantry divisions in a force that we had that was a little weaker. Again, I'm not terribly disappointed in how all of that turned out there. They even managed to lose 5 of their Stug 3s. Again, now that means next time these guys are in action, right? They have 5 fewer and even more, actually. It looks like it'd probably be closer to a total of 9 fewer because we have some damaged. Makes it that much easier to push against them and decreases their ability to counterattack. Over here, though, this line, these 4 hexes, pretty much had not moved the entire scenario that we were playing. Like, they had just stayed. We set these guys to low supply priority. They're in the middle of nowhere with forests and woods and swamps and rivers. It just, they were just holding this line. They have the entire time, and that was all I ever asked of them. Never tried to have them counterattack. Now, surprisingly, in the last turn, the German player decided to break through in this line. So you see here, they actually had us rout it. We didn't take a terrible amount of losses, but because of the supply constraints that we had, they managed to break through, and they had 2.5 to 1 odds. Over here, similar situation, they had 27 to 1 odds, right, by attacking with 50,000 men, which is quite a force to take a... I mean, this hex is heavy woods and of absolutely no strategic importance whatsoever. Over here, they had actually pushed up through a gap that we had in our line, I think. No, I'm sorry, we had been working around this unit. That's right, we had been working around them because we didn't feel the need to try to push them out. They had high defensive value, right? I'd rather just cut them off from the south. And that's what we're going to keep on doing here. So I'm just going to move this rifle division back here. And yeah, I don't think we're going to do a ton. I think we're just going to leave them right where they're at. You are really suffering in your TOE, and that's mostly through attrition. I guess I could take like the 358th Rifle Division and move you over, which then doubles the defensive value of that hex, meaning if they attack, it'll be much more difficult for them. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of leave this as is because, again, even if they advance another 4 or 5 hexes in this direction, I don't care a lot because we'll then be able to get in behind them and just cut them off. Yeah, it's fine. Heck, if we really have to, we can take the 2nd Tank Army and move south to counter them if they keep pushing here. So we're going to leave that just as it is, and we're going to focus our attention on, okay, how do we continue building from Smolensk, taking all of this key critical infrastructure here and over here, so that way when we do take Plinsk and Idritsa, right, we have all of this connected, because right now we just have this huge gap with so much bad terrain where we don't have rail lines going through. Smolensk is one of the answers to that problem. So on that note, let's take a look here. Looks like did they push us back here? Yeah, they did. So we got pushed back here. These 3 units, 2 tank corps and a mechanized corps, retreated. Oh, that's not so great. We lost 160 armored fighting vehicles and 70 guns, and they lost 33. So, well, I'm very, very happy about them losing 33 armored fighting vehicles. 160 is not the type of odds that I'm looking for, or ratio in losses, I should say. I think a silver lining here is it looks like a great number of them were actually the light tanks that were destroyed when retreating. And okay, T-34s, here we go. Yeah. So, wow. 92 T-34s, 30. Wow. Okay. KV-1s lost all of them. Wow. That's unfortunate. So I think what we're going to have to do then, and let's just look here quick. We managed to hold here, lost 40 armored fighting vehicles to their 70. Wow, 416 armored fighting vehicles counterattacked here. Right, and this is why I keep debating on turning recon on, because they had 416 armored fighting vehicles attack, and I don't know where those elements have gone. Right? Like I don't, with Fog of War, I don't know where those are right now, which means they can come back and they can counterattack again. So they have the 5th Panzer Division, which had a heavy panzer battalion. So I'm betting we're going to see some Tigers in this mix, as well as the 9th Panzer, which had a similar battalion, and the 19th Panzer Division. So 3 Panzer Divisions, a motorized division, 2 additional heavy panzer battalions they attacked us with. That is an incredible force that we managed to hold against, right? Think about that. They did not break through. So, yeah, they attacked with Tigers, a ton of Panzer IVs. I am so happy to see this. I wish we would have taken out more of the Tigers, honestly. But considering the odds that this all played out with, I don't think there's anything here we can be upset about. And we lost a bunch of Stuarts, again, Stuart being an American Lend-Lease tank that was provided the Soviets, and T-34s, which is our medium tank. The Stuarts are very light, they're getting a little dated, so no issues losing those. Those are some incredible results on this battle, though. That they lost 70 armored fighting vehicles, even though they had a 10-to-1 advantage in armor. I think that went very well for us, and it probably helped that we had 796 gun placements. Let's look at the results of some of those, actually. Yeah, so right here, the 45mm anti-tank guns probably took out a lot of their Panzer IIIs, because that's going to have trouble against things like Panzer IV or a Tiger sometimes. And then I think the 76s really came into effect against the Panzer IVs. These are some really close ranges, by the way. So, I mean, this was, they had gotten right to the line and were pushed back at the line that we were holding. Wow. Okay. And it looks like for them, so their AP hits with their guns were pretty much non-existent, which means it was their armor that had destroyed 40 of our armored fighting vehicles. And it looks like it was the Panzer IIIMs and Panzer IIILs, which probably were taking out the Stuarts, I would assume. And then the Tigers, yeah. So the Tigers destroyed with 6 AP hits, 6 vehicles. So that's pretty noticeable. And at a range of 317, that meant really they were never going to be threatened by our 76mm anti-tank guns. What an interesting battle. I'm so surprised by how that turned out, given the odds that we were faced with. Well, let's get back to the movement phase, though. So while we do not know where exactly those units went, those armor panzer elements, I think we can still, though, look at the front and say, okay, let's push back where we can. And I think we're going to take the 7th Guards and have them attack here. And we routed the Croatian infantry regiment that was stationed there. So that's good news. Then I think we're going to take this entire stack that we have and push through here. 3-to-1 odds. They retreat it. So that's good news. Then I think we're going to take the 312th Rifle Division. And we'll take the 3rd Guards Rifle Division. And the 17th Rifle Corps. No, because that's going to exhaust them. So let's take then, I think, the 82nd Rifle Division. So that's a defensive value of about 11 there. And again, if they have all those mechanized forces back here, that's going to be tough for them to defend against. So I think what I'm going to do is go to, say, the 82nd Rifle Division and look to see if we don't have any anti-tank support units there, and it doesn't look like we do. So we did, in the previous turn, deploy a lot of heavy tank regiments, mortar battalions, and such like that, and they did get dispersed to various army HQs. So those are in various armies now, but it does not appear any of them made it to the 29th Army, which that happens. Nothing to be upset about there. I think we will take the strongest units that we can muster to move into this hex. So let's see what those would be. So here we have these tank corps, and were you part of that fighting? Yeah, look at this. Medium tank 7%, recon tank 7%, light tank destroyer 0%. So we have to get some of you guys in a refit status. Let's do that now. So let's move you to a town where you won't take as much attrition. Looks like right here will do nicely. So we're going to turn you to refit. I'm assuming you were also part of that group. Yeah, you didn't get hit as bad, but still, you need to refit as well. And then, did we have one route? I don't think so. The other one that we had was a mechanized unit, I think. Was it the 47th? Yeah, medium tank 17%, recon 25%. Okay, so we're going to move you back as well. We'll move you up here. And we're going to turn you to refit. Okay. 6 guard tank corps. How are you doing? Yeah, you're at 50% for medium tanks. That's a worry. Really is a worry. So we might not have you push too hard. Back to the question at hand, though, we need to get 3 strong units into this hex, right? Getting myself a little distracted. I think we'll take the 17th, the 326. The 17th Rifle Guards we might actually also put to a refit status, given they're at about 50%. I think we're going to do that, so let's move them back here to their HQ and set them to refit. So we still need to move another infantry division in here or something. Doesn't necessarily have to be an infantry division. Let's maybe take the 42nd Guards. No, that's too far. What about the 78 Rifle Division? Let's move you there. So defensive value then of about 11. So that's pretty good. Now the question is, right here, we are not looking so great here. I'm not sure. Probably the 8th Guards Rifle Corps would be best to move there. So I think we're going to take our weakest unit that we have here, move them out. And from a defensive perspective, it looks like that would be the 8th Tank Corps. So let's move them into this hex. And we're going to take the 8th Guards Rifle Corps down here. And that now adds 10 to our defensive value in this hex. And in terms of Smolensk, we have 93 defensive value defending the city, so I'm not worried about that at all. We're then going to take this cavalry corps and move them up here to help defend where we just moved the tank corps. And I think what we will do is we'll push back this unit by attacking with all of this. 3-1. They held. Damn it. Okay. That's not so great. Let's move up the mechanized now just to help a little. So it didn't hurt us too bad from a defensive perspective. Wasn't great either. Over here, facing off against the 11th Panzer and the 125th Infantry Division. Really have plenty in terms of defensive strength there, so I'm not too worried about that. Wonder if we don't take this rifle division, move them down towards Smolensk. I think we will. Up here, we're just going to hold the line with these units. This 3rd Mechanized Corps, what are you doing? 0% heavy tank, 20% medium tank. Not good. So let's get you into refit. We will move you. Wait, just leave right where you are. Just turn you to refit. Okay. Yeah, gonna leave this whole pocket just entirely alone, I think. Not gonna touch that. And we're not gonna be able to break through much here in Smolensk. First we need to deal with this southern front. So that way we can have a more uniform line of advance. And we need to recover some of our armored fighting vehicle losses that we've had with these various tank corps. The way to continue our advance is not to try to push against these infantry and panzer divisions that are entrenched in defensive fortification values of 2. That's not the best way to do this. So we're going to just hold a line here, push south where they're a little weaker, and when we recover our units here, we'll push a little bit to the west. Speaking of that, we will take this unit and move them up, I think. Yeah. And what this is going to end up doing then is it's going to threaten this unit to having to say, maybe I should pull back so I don't get encircled, right? That's the conversation we want them to have in their command tents. All right, good stuff going on. I think we might move that infantry division here so again they take less attrition by being in the town. And going to change them to refit because they are very clearly hurting. Down here, we don't have enough to break through this hex. Don't even have 1-to-1 odds, actually. Down here, they've managed to start pulling back a little bit. So I think we might take these 2 rifle divisions and move them up. Okay. So we don't know what we're facing there, but it is something to watch out for. This entire advance will move up here. And then we're going to take this rifle division. And we'll take the 48th Guards Rifle Division down here. So here we have defensive value of 5. So we'll take these 2 stacks and attack. That's 4-1. They retreat it. That's good news. And then let's take these 2 stacks and attack. Nope, never mind. Not going to attack. The intel might be bad, but we're not going to risk that. Okay. So that's that. Moving over here, they continue to fall back north of Orel. Look, they've moved their entire line back, and we pushed them back, it should be noted, in the previous turn, but they haven't moved back into those defensive positions. So that was pretty successful, I think, on our part. The 3rd Volunteer Rifle Division will move up here. Defensive value of 20, so they are set against that. This entire stack, we're going to move up into this hex. And defensive value there is about 24, which should be plenty to handle. Well, their combat value of 24 is what it turns out to be, actually. So, let's now take this stack of rifle divisions up. And let's see what the math is if we hit right at the corner of their front. 3-1, they retreat it. Good news. Good news. We're then going to keep moving our rifle division stacks down here. Defensive value there is plenty. Let's just keep doing this for another couple hexes. And take all of you here, I think. Yeah, so that's about 15 versus their 12. I'll take that. Let's push through in this hex by attacking. That's 7-1. They retreat it. We attack here. Yeah, we don't have enough because we exhausted ourselves with that attack. And moving south, I do wonder if it's worth moving up. Let's see here. So we have 31-12 if we move that entire stack here, but then we open ourselves up to counterattack against what is 28 combat value attack. Don't know that we want to do that. We might just hold this just as it is. I can't decide between holding it as is or moving this here to the next turn attack. Because I would really like to move west as well to start capturing these rail lines that go west to Smolensk and getting in behind some of these more fortified positions. But I think we're going to hold just as we are because we're having such good luck up here that we may not need to throw away men at this problem. Over here, we continue to see this where they just empty their lines and then next turn they're going to come out of the fog with panzers and panthers, and panthers haven't hit us yet, but some of you may have gotten that reference. It's a little bit of that fog of war of not seeing what's behind these, but I think we're going to take the bait and attack. So we're going to first hit this unit with defensive value of 4 with these 4 rifle divisions, and they retreat it. Then we're going to take this stack and attack here, just 3-1. Okay. And then we're going to take these 2 stacks and push here, which is 5-1 at least. Okay. Yeah, so we've pushed them back. I don't know that we're going to move up into those hexes this turn, though. I think we might wait another turn. Fatigue's already at 50 on pretty much all of these stacks, so pushing them any further is going to get them to about 60 or 70, and then that's when they're just ripe for counterattack. Now what happens is if they want to counterattack, they actually have to move up from behind their front, right? So let's say there's panzers sitting in this hex. They have to move up, so that takes some movement points. Then they have to move into an enemy hex, which takes considerable movement points, right? And all of this is adding fatigue, decreasing their combat preparation points, then attack, and then if they don't want us to counterattack, they then also need to use movement points to retreat. So I think by leaving these empty, it prevents them from being able to successfully counterattack us there. Just checking, yeah, plenty of defense in Orel. No worries there. Really am tempted about this hex, though. Really am. Just don't know that we have enough to hold it. If we take the 9th Rifle Guard and move them there, what does that look like? I don't know. Just doesn't quite feel worth it. We're going to wait another turn. We're just going to wait another turn. Over here, combined, they would have a offensive value of 14, so I'm tempted to move into this hex to then make it a little easier to break down this unit and this unit. We really don't need 2 here to defend, so let's take the 132nd and move them there. And then we're going to take the 280th and come up there. And now that we've got that defensive position, ooh, we only have 6 defensive value there. Well, I kind of wish it was a lot more than that. Because that does give them 2-to-1 odds now. Let's see if there are support units that can be attached. So there is this anti-tank rifle battalion, but I don't think they're going to be too heavy on armor there. There is that tank brigade. I think I'd rather consider that for an offensive with some of these units later. Let's see what the 132nd Rifle Division has available to it. Over here, more tank regiments, anti-tank regiments, excuse me. Let's take the 118th Tank Brigade and add that. That gets us up to, yeah, so that's about 8.5 versus their 14. So that means they don't even have 2-to-1. I think we're still going to take the 148th though and move them up here. So now they really shouldn't have any chance at all of counterattacking. We're leaving this hex a little open, but I don't think they're going to try to push and risk encirclement. So, well, actually what we might be able to do is take this rifle division, them up here, to then fill in the line. Let's do that, actually. I'm going to move them there. And they have defense value 7 because of the fortification level. Good. Good. And I think we will also just push here. We're going to have to take both. Let's just make sure it's what we want to do. 20. Yes, we're going to take both stacks and attack here. And they retreat it. Good. Lost all their fortification level as well. So that's good news. Gives us more of an opening to keep pushing. Now that we've completed kind of the Arel pocket, I'm actually going to call the episode to a close before we move past Kursk too much here. As always, just want to say thank you guys for watching the video and the series, and all of your support for it. Should you have any questions, comments, or feedback from me, or for the game, please leave them in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to address them. And with that, Strategy Gamers, hope you have yourselves a great day, and bye now.